Hi, everyone. I'm Charlotte from the admissions office at the Jönköping University. Thank you for joining us for this webinar on how to apply for a pathway program at the Jönköping University. This webinar is about how to apply to a pathway program at the Jönköping University. So it's for the pathway that starts in the summer and the pathway program starting autumn 2025. Here you also have our email address for the pathway admissions team. So pathway admissions in one word at ju.se. So about our pathway programs. If you don't meet the English requirement because your English test results are not sufficient, the pathway programs gives an English boost, but it also gives you the opportunity to practice and learn more academic writing in English. The minimum test requirements can be found at the Pathway Admissions website. And we will look at that website in just a little bit. You also, with pathway programs, it's about understanding English in a global context, focus on critical thinking and lifelong learning. And the teaching methods used in the pathway programs are commonly used in your universities in Sweden and Europe. So, for example, group work and presentations that you learn to be good at. So, if you're interested in continuing studying at Jönköping University after the pathway, you should apply for a pathway program in combination with a bachelor or master program. And we will look at that when we look at the application form. So when you apply for a pathway program in combination with a degree program, you get pre-assessed. So we make sure that after completing pathway, you will be eligible for a bachelor or master program. And also it means that you will have guaranteed admission if you successfully complete the pathway program, that is passing the full program. And this is as long as the follow-up program isn't unexpectedly canceled or significantly changed, because our pathway programs that start in autumn of 2025, the follow-up programs will not start until autumn 2026. So we're talking about almost 2 years from now. So things can change, but most of the time, this works out really well. Now for this year, when applying for pathway starting in autumn 25, with a follow-up program at our International Business School, starting in 2026, those programs at the business school are being updated. So that means that there's a somewhat different way to apply this year. We will look at that as well later on. But you would be applying for a more generic bachelor program in business administration or economics, or master in business administration or economics. And then when you start the pathway program, we will be able to help you do a specific program application when we know what the program names will be, because they're changing all of their programs for the 2026 start. So why are we looking at this? Well, Campus Gränna, that is where the pathway programs are held. And it's held in Gränna, and here's Jönköping. So it's about 40 minutes to an hour by bus. It depends on which bus. Some take longer and some goes faster. But Campus Gränna, and this is the main building, and then we have the campus here. So it's situated right in the center of the town of Gränna. And you can walk from the student accommodation and campus to the center of Gränna. The school is composed of several smaller wooden buildings, and some of them date back to the 18th century, so they're quite old. The pathway program fee includes accommodation, so our half boarding fee. That means that lunch and dinner served in the restaurant on campus, so that's included, and then your room, and then a lot more is included in the boarding fee. So the internet, for example, the Campus Gränna gym, there's a gaming room at the school for leisure activities and things like that. Breakfast and late meals can be prepared by the students in their residences. So the residences are not everyone lives in the same building. So there are several accommodation buildings, and each building has its own kitchen and then several bathrooms that you share. Of course, the bathrooms are one person at a time. And the rooms are single occupancy. That means one person in a room. Not far from campus is the local health center. So if you need some medical treatment, it's not far. Students in the pathway year or pathway semester programs usually have at least 1 day a week of studies at the main campus in Jönköping. So then you'll be traveling 1 day a week to Jönköping from Gränna. Now, when it comes to the boarding fee and the program fee, if you're an EU citizen, you only pay the boarding fee. Non-EU citizens pay tuition fee and boarding fee. And we will look at that in just a few more slides. But let's talk about the student housing. So again, you have your own room, one person in a room. The kitchen and bathrooms are shared. And this is only for the students. So if you're planning to bring family members, you will need to find accommodation for your family on your own. The boarding fee is mandatory. So that means that if you choose to live off campus with your family, the room will still be yours to use during the studies. Some students use their rooms as a quiet study place before they join their family and children later on. Campus Gränna is a safe place to live. There's an accommodation manager on campus during evening and some nights to help with practical matters. So there's staff to make sure that you're safe there. So if you have questions about Campus Gränna, the easiest way is to use the Facebook account, Pathway Programs at Jönköping University. And there you can send messages to them and ask more questions. So we're going to focus on the Pathway Programs right now. So we're first going to talk about Pathway Intensive English. And that's held in the summer. This is a 4-week course from 14th of July until 10th of August. So it's a short period with high intensity focus on boosting your English and academic writing. So there's a lot of academic writing in this. So for this, the minimum English requirement that you need to have in order to be admitted to this course is an IELTS of 6.0 with no part below 5.5. If you're doing a TOEFL, it should be no less than a result of 80 with at least 20 in writing. There are other English tests available, and they have their own minimum requirements as well. But we will look at that on the website. So the fee for Pathway Intensive English is in total 35,000, and of that 20,000 is the tuition fee, and the rest boarding fee. So if you only studied this course, that does not qualify for a study permit if you're non-EU. So you should apply for Pathway Intensive English plus a bachelor or master program at Jönköping University. Also note that we will look at what programs we have, but that Pathway Intensive English or any Pathway Intensive English plus an online program does not qualify for a study permit. Another one of our longer pathway semester, pathway year, if you do that and apply for an online program, you can only get a study permit for the pathway studies, because a study permit for non-EU citizens is only for campus studies in Sweden. So we do have some online programs, so we're going to look at how you identify those. So our next program we're going to look at is our Pathway Semester English. This pathways have an autumn start or a spring start. So with spring, we mean starting in January. Autumn, we mean starting in late August. So in this case, it will start on the 25th of August and run until 14th of December. So the minimum English requirement for this, because it's longer than the intensive English, the minimum requirement is at least IELTS 5.5 with no part below 5. And then a different one for the TOEFL test. So the Pathway Semester English, it prepares you for the necessary enrollment at Jönköping University or another Swedish university, for example. It helps you to understand the Swedish culture and making it easier to live and study in Sweden. Pathway Semester English also offers basic knowledge in the Swedish language, because you will be doing English and Swedish during the semester. And it also gives you support in adjusting to the requirements for studying at higher education in Sweden. So these our pathway course and pathway programs are at academic level. So this is not about doing a foundation year as in other countries. This is academic level studies. Pathway semester English, 99,500. Of that, 52 is the tuition fee, and the rest is board. Now, when the pathway semester English ends in December, and you have a conditional offer for starting a program at Jönköping in autumn of 2026, you do have to return home after these completed studies in December, and then return for 2026, because the pathway semester is just a one semester program, and you there's a gap semester. There's nothing during the spring semester, so then you have to go home and then come back. We do have our longer programs. Pathway year English, it starts again on the 25th of August, like the pathway semester. It ends on the 3rd of May in 2026. So pathway year English has an even more of an English boost, because you're eligible if you have an IELTS of 5.0 and no part below 4.5. So you're studying English for 2 semesters, both semesters. There are some elective courses that you will be able to choose after arriving at Campus Gränna. For instance, if you choose Swedish as an elective, you will get basic knowledge of the Swedish language. You will be studying life and studies, which helps you understand the Swedish culture, to make it easier to live in Sweden and study in Sweden. So the pathway year, the total program fee is 199,000 Swedish kronor. Again, part of it is tuition and part is boarding fee. And this is paid in 2 installments. So the first one is due about 3 to 5 weeks after admission. And the second installment will be due on the 15th of December of 2025. So before you start the spring semester 2026. We have another pathway year program, pathway year general. Again, starting on the 25th of August. This one is a little bit longer, until the 7th of June. You also have a higher English requirement, the same as for pathway semester. So in essence, you're kind of studying pathway semester English during the first semester, and then the second semester you have the opportunity to have some elective courses. Some of them are on campus in Jönköping if you choose to take those classes. But again, if you choose Swedish as an elective, you will get basic knowledge in the Swedish language, and can make yourself understood in shops, perhaps. The pathway year general is a little bit longer, so it's a bit more expensive than pathway year English, and that's because of the spring semester ending a month later. Again, it is divided in 2 separate installments. The first installment due 3 to 5 weeks after you've been admitted, and then the second one is due 15th of December of 2025. We do have additional pathway programs, pathway year, plus our partner programs at BI Norwegian Business School, which is in Oslo, Norway, and also another one with North Park University in Chicago, the US. So if you want to know more about that, go to our YouTube channel and search our playlist and write Pathway to Studying at, and then they will come up and you can watch those. So what kind of documents do you need when you want to apply? Well, depending on if you're applying for pathway plus a bachelor or pathway plus a master, it's either high school documents or your academic documents. And there are specific country requirements. For instance, some countries, the documents have to be sent directly from the issuing institution, or it has to be sent by some other organization. So we can look at that as well. You have to submit your English test results. Now, some results have to be made available to us. And that information you can find on the Pathway Program requirement page. Again, we will look at that shortly. Copy of your passport, a letter of motivation. Now, all of these documents, they should be scanned in color and scans of the original document, with every part of the page visible and easy to read. So how do you apply to JU? Well, you have to make a decision. Is it you want to do a degree program and you need a pathway? So then it should be a pathway plus a degree program. Is it just pathway because you want to try it out? You want to see what it's like to study abroad? Or you need the English to later apply to a different university in Sweden. So you need to decide which one, because there are separate entrances how to get to the application depending on what you choose. So then you prepare your documents and then you submit your application. And that's where we have our website, where we have our application form. So this is the website, ju.se/en/admission. And that is where you get to the page, how to apply pathway. Now, this page has a lot of other information, like how to apply for our bachelor and masters, our English requirements, visa requirements, and study permit, which I've mentioned. And also fees and things like that. So when we get to the website, this is what it looks like. It shows you important information about applying to pathway program. And here, learn more about our degree programs. Now, if we open that link, this is where you find our programs. So you check what level. What are you interested in? Is it master or bachelor? For instance, master, we have a few that's a web-based program, for instance, the occupational therapy. That means that it's completely online. So if you're non-EU citizen, the follow-up program would not be here. So you would not be able to get a study permit to be allowed to be in Sweden to study web-based programs. So we have a few more. There's also one. This one is also web-based. So it will tell you if it's web-based, and that means not on campus. And again, here's the information about the bachelor or master programs in business or economics. So it tells you what you will be looking for in the application form, what you will be choosing. So whether it's business administration, we have engineering management, and we have economics. And in bachelor, we have economics and business administration. And that this does not mean that there will only be two different bachelor programs. We might have 3 bachelor programs with a major in business administration, but the entry requirements, what you need in order to be admitted, will have the same requirements. So that's why we can, you can apply for Pathway Plus this, and we will be able to assess your application for that. Like I said before, you have to figure out, are you doing just Pathway, or are you doing Pathway plus a bachelor program or a master program? Because there are different entrances. Either it's just a Pathway program, or it's with master or bachelor, or the BR Norwegian. So they have their separate entrances in how to. So if we use applying for Pathway and bachelor program, we will get to one page, how to get to the application, and master is a different one. But when I talked about the English requirements, they can be found here. So if you click here, you will see the different tests that we accept and what the minimum requirement results are. So check your test and then see what pathway would be sufficient for you. So let's look at Pathway Plus Bachelor Program. Here it gives you a step-by-step information how you should apply. So you should apply through here, upload your documents, and again, check your eligibility and which documents to submit. Again, specific country requirements, which I mentioned before. So click on this link to see what you need to be eligible for a bachelor program, and then with Pathway. Then you upload the documents and more information about. So again, read through everything here. Everything here. So once you've gotten here, it also tells you that non-EU citizens pay an application fee of 900 Swedish kronor. It's somewhere about 80 euro at this point. And once you've read through all of this, you go back and you click apply here. And that takes you to the application form. So welcome to the application form. So you start off with, well, which English are you interested in? So for instance, the intensive English, that is where you can apply for the specific bachelor programs in for instance, business administration, because this will start in 2025. If you're choosing, for instance, Pathway semester, it will say bachelor with a major in business administration, because the names of the programs are not set at this point, because they start in 2026. So the first choice means what you really want to study, but make sure that you check to see that you're eligible in your English, because if you apply for Pathway Intensive English and you have an IELTS of 5.5, you won't be eligible to do the pathway. So again, check the requirements on this page. Then your personal details, your first name, your given name, and then your family name, Then you enter your email address, and you enter it twice. So first time your email address, and then again to make sure that you enter your address correctly. Because if you enter it incorrectly, we can't contact you. Telephone. So you choose the country code based on the country of your telephone provider, and then your phone number. We normally do not call, but sometimes if there's something that we really need to contact you about, we might actually need your telephone number. Then you enter your address, where you live now, your home address, city where you live, the country where you live, and then nationality. Nationality is what's on your passport. Sometimes where you live and your nationality are not necessarily the same thing. You could be a Bulgarian national living in Turkey, for example. That happens. The next is you enter your birth date. And in Sweden, we use this format: year, month, date. So enter it that way. If just to make sure, then you can use this the calendar function, and you can go back in time to find where when you were born. Gender. So you choose if it's male or female. It should be the same as what's on your passport. Swedish personal identity number. This is only if you have one. If you've never been to Sweden, if you have no connection with Sweden before, just ignore this. Just forget it. Don't write anything. If you've previously applied through the website called universityadmissions.se, enter your application number from there here. We use this to make sure that we can keep your profile at University Admissions together with any studies that you do at Jönköping University, so that your merits will be following you, and you don't have to upload to this website if you apply to different universities. If you are a recruitment consultant, or if you have paid a consultant to help you with this application, this is where you put in that person's name and email address, but only if it's a recruitment consultant, someone whose job it is to help, not a relative of yours, cousin help you. Then you should just leave it blank. Then we come to the attachments. So your documents. We're going to upload your documents now. It tells you how many files you can submit, the format, the size, and to add more, you just click the plus sign there. And then you click choose file. And then you should name your document as easy as possible. If it is an IELTS or an English test, name it that, English test, IELTS, high school grades, or bachelor diploma. And then you can add more. If the name is too long, if it's more than 45 characters, it will tell you file name is too long, it says here. Then you have to go back and shorten that. Something else that won't show anything that's wrong here, but don't do this. Have a dot, not a period, in the name, because that will be more difficult for us to see when we look at your documents. We need to be able to identify your documents quickly. So this is the best way to do it. If you're still unsure which documents, again, go back and check the website. And the specific requirements, for instance. And if you have any problems uploading, or once you've submitted it and you say, oh no, I wanted to change to something else, I want to do graphic design and web development. If you want to do a change, send us an email to Pathway Admissions and we will help you. So an application fee of 900 Swedish kronor. The exception is citizens of the European Union or the European Economic Area in Switzerland. So if you're an EU citizen or a citizen of Switzerland or the European Economic Area, you can just click, I am not required to pay the application fee, and then you just submit the application. If you are a non-EU citizen, and you click next here, you will be taken to the fee payment, and it's done with a Visa or MasterCard. If you have already applied for the autumn 2025 through university admissions, and you've paid the application fee there, you can click here, I have already paid the fee, and then upload the proof of payment. So, and again, you can see the instructions on how you get that proof. If you don't have a Visa or MasterCard, you can click here and then submit, and then we will help you with a third option, which is a bank transfer. But that can only be done after you've submitted your application. You need to have your application number in order to do that. So then you submit. And once you've done that, you sit and you wait for us to review it. Same way if you're interested in a master program. Again, read through the information. For some countries, different rules apply. So read through if there's anything you need to know before you click on apply here. And again, you will be able to apply for different programs. For instance, master with a major in business administration, or the Pathway Intensive English 2025, the follow-up program will be in 2025, and that's where we have our correct program names. But the rest of the application form is exactly the same as for Pathway and Bachelor, or just Pathway. So again, the documents, application fee, and so on. So again, here there's more information about Pathway, the Pathway programs, Campus Gränna. If you go to the admissions website, where you had this, where we have gathered all the important information, you have that information here as well. Visa requirements, whether or not you need a visa, to enter Sweden. This is all non-EU citizens. But you do need a residence permit in order to study in Sweden for more than 3 months. And the information can be found here for, if it's pathway year or pathway semester, you click here and you get that information. So once you've submitted your application, we are going to check your documents. We will ask you for more documents or more information if we need. If you're offered admission, you have 1 week to reply. If you accept the offer, you will be sent a letter of acceptance and instructions on to activate a temporary JU account, because that account will let you access the invoice, which is in a system. So we don't send the invoice by mail. You will receive it through the invoice system. An email about how to access that invoice will be sent a few days after you receive the letter of acceptance. So if you receive the letter of acceptance on a Friday, you're going to have to wait until the following week to get information about the invoice, because Saturdays and Sundays in Sweden, we don't work. So it's always a few days after the letter of acceptance that you will get access to the invoice. Depending on when you're admitted, you will have up to 5 weeks to have paid the invoice. The invoice will have a due date, and due date means the date when we should have the payment in our account. The application is open until, for pathway semester and pathway year, it's open until 2nd of May. But if you apply in May, then the time you have to pay the invoice will be shorter than 5 weeks, because you have to have paid the program fee as a non-EU citizen. You have to have paid that in order to apply for a study permit. And you can apply for that no more than 4 months before the start of the study. But we will have a separate webinar on this in early April. But like I said, more information can be found on the website for the study permit, and specifically for pathway year and pathway semester, or students admitted to pathway intensive English and a bachelor or master program. That was the end of my presentation. Thank you for attending this webinar.